Give me a second here. Good morning, by the way. There's that chat. All right, let's get some charts. And so yesterday we got a little closer to the destination. And depending on who you talk to, what that destination is differs a bit. We got different reference points and different concepts as to what people look at. And I don't think anybody's looking at fib levels. I don't think anything matches up just like I eyeball it. Maybe it does from the high to low, but who cares? Subjective. Push through the 50 MA, close below the 50 MA on the futures. We'll see what other things do. We have the big 4,000 level where there's a large open interest of put options there that tends to act like a support point. You know, option gurus have different names for it, like put walls and more fancy names, let's just call it. So we have a cluster of some information looking at the futures anyway. We'll see how they line up with other things. And just dragging that down to yesterday's high, our first reference point of overhead resistance in this particular stock on this particular time frame. So we had a little bit of a range expansion bar after a slowing momentum bar. So far, there's an inside day here. We also have minor support. It's a bit subjective, but we can see this little dip here on this bar into the wide range bar. There's probably something there. See if we line that up there. Kind of a little wide area of slop over there to the left. Anyway, so subjective reference points. Moving average, not really lined up with anything of significance. A whole number, people focus on it, self-fulfilling prophecy, large open interest at that whole number, which it pushed down through. Institutions then had a scary moment as this pushed down through. This is the futures. We'll get to SPX. And so once it came off of that, it created support. Right? It's a pivot. So when there's nothing of anything significant to the left and we see a pivot, we say it's created support in the moment. And traders will trade against that. And we see exactly this is what happened here. So now we have these two pivot lows and we have this pivot high. And on a very short-term basis, we got a trading range of support and resistance on an intraday time frame. So now we'll see where today ends. So what we have to be looking for today is how deep this might make a turn into this red bar. Again, we're looking at the futures chart, so it's a 24-hour chart. Other things will look different. So we're going to look at SPY as far as a gap goes. So it's probably gapping up a little bit, and we'll see where that is. So with the futures, it hit the 50 MA and backed off, okay, which was lined up with this minor resistance. So you've got a couple of reference point traders were looking at whether the daily 50 MA, as this came up here, these overlapping opens and closes, and this minor resistance there, and there's going to be some sellers. Okay, now let's go to SPY. And we see where it is, crosshair gapping less than 50% into that bar. All right, and you can see it's right at 400. And you can see right at 400 there. So bumping its head on that resistance of 400. What was support becomes resistance. We'll see if it gets through it. There's a little mini void there up to around 404, 405. That would be a relatively deep retracement on this minor time frame day to day. Of course, our main focus is whether it closes up there, because then we'd have some kind of a turn of significance. Okay? In any event, one of the things we covered in coaching last night was momentum. And so this was decent momentum. It came all the way down to this major resistance area there. This was decent momentum. Now, we don't have a turn here yet, meaning I don't have a green bar to measure against that momentum. So this could be something of a measured move, except they usually don't start with wide range monster bars like that. Again, we'll see if this can hold on to the gap and whether it closes green, and we'd have a minor turn. And we'd say that that momentum is about equal. And so then we would just see, and we're back to comments early in the week. Well, whatever happens here, can it close more than 50% into that green bar? So here we are kind of, evaluating, looking into the future as to what might be, just a reminder. In any event, the ideal scenario on some levels, right, would be coming down here to this pivot. And we'll see, how today progresses and so on. And we'd actually have an increase in momentum at that point. And then what we'd look for going forward, you'll hear me talk about this, different things depending on what happens, but what we'd look for is momentum beginning to slow down here with pivots closer together to maybe have some kind of a tradable turn into the middle of the September options expiration. So this is more of what I'm talking about here. You've got this monster momentum. You've got another increase in momentum. And now just based on yesterday, there was a slowing in momentum. And so now, does it continue to slow or does it pick up again? That's what we're going to find out today. All right, let's get to SPX. All right, so we know it's around 404. And SPX, right, which is, I guess, right around here, give or take. What is this? Oh, that's yesterday's close. Let's get rid of this. I don't like that. Moving average number. It's right around here, 4,000. McGraw is sharing with me 39.25, 39.25. All right, so you got 39.50 in front of you. You've got 39.65 as a line of defense. You've got 39.50 as a line of defense. And then it's got to travel down to 39.25. It's acceptable. And this pivot is down here. So it would have to get all the way down here where it's got to break through several lines of defense and then get to such a major line in the sand that, look, if it went down there fast and furious, you might have to go into a fetal position under your desk and say a prayer to the market gods, or I think you'd survive just based on what I just said, right? 40.75 should be a no-brainer. You call it measured legs, measured move, you call it whatever you like. I'm answering one of the comments in the chat there. I mean, it really doesn't matter much what you call it. That's understanding the concept. We could change the words, understanding the concept. Do you measure vertical projection from head to neck? And yeah, you could do that. So what you're asking me is, like, if you're going like this, right? And then if you took that, this is where it made the turn, and then you drag this down here. Sometimes I do it like that, yeah. And I drag it down here like that as a projected low, and it lines up at around 39.50. So there's another thing, and maybe that's what others were looking at yesterday as some kind of reference point when it pushed down through 4,000. So yeah, you could do it that way. Sometimes I just kind of eyeball it like that because I'm really not looking to get to the exact number. Yeah. All right. So there you have it. I think those numbers are worthwhile for today. 39.25, 40.75, just based on, first line of resistance would be the top of this bar, and then this bar is 62. So that would be a relatively large move. So we're looking to get far enough away where there is some premium, where we believe prices won't go to just for today. And that could change easily. Could change tomorrow. All right, we've got other markets that are up. The NQs is just an inside day, not impressive. So far, it's just holding here. Little kind of a bear flagish kind of a pattern. Now, bear flags are ones in which they make a higher high, higher low. And I like that pattern. And sometimes it'll hit that pivot and make, a little retest and roll over, but sometimes it does come over the top and then it rolls back over again. So watch out for that. There is a void. But what would happen is what I'm explaining to you about slowing momentum look more like that in the S&P, where it came down like that and made a lower low. This actually showed relative strength. It made quite a nice higher low. And so this could make a higher high to here, but still well above this major resistance level. And so somewhere in here is where it should begin to roll over and show some weakness based on that concept. All right, let's see what YM, it's up here a little bit. Down at the bottom of the range, you can see it just barely lifted off of that pivot there, so relative weakness. Why are the Qs showing some relative strength today? Are interest rates coming down a little bit? They stalled. 5-year, stalled. Greater than 100% retracement up there, so yeah. Expectation is stalled. We covered that in the coaching yesterday. And you know what? Watch this. Watch this. Meaning, there's been an inverse relationship between interest rates and the markets. Right? This was the market low. That was the market high. Right? So now we've got a breakout yesterday on the 10-year up over here. So far, it's an inside day. If we get inside days in the market, excuse me, inside day in interest rates, this could be a breakout bar failure pattern. And then this moving under here tomorrow. Well, we don't have the bar there. We don't have the bar. We have to go to the S&P, but you can envision it on that. And inside day today, which is going to be a boring day, chopping up everybody. And it trades above that high, but this isn't really the pattern. It's only one bar to the left, whereas we have interest rates. You see it's got a little shelf there that it broke above and came in, and then an inside bar. So if this was to be breaking down, right, and nobody's going to really get excited for this market unless it gets under 3%, and that's a stretch so far today. But watch this kind of a pattern where it cracks the shelf with a little minor topping tail bar and an inside day, and then it takes out the low tomorrow. It's kind of like a pattern that it doesn't look like much in the moment, but let's see if it shapes up and it holds the inside day and breaks there tomorrow. If it gets above this high today, right? I don't know what today's going to do. Nobody does, right? But if it gets above this high and starts moving up toward 3.2, odds are the markets are going to be going down. Now, just looking over here, this is up at resistance. So it's kind of at a pretty important point here, as to what this is going to do. When I look at this, is this a head and shoulders top in formation? Or is this going to march its way up to 3.5? We'll know in a few days. Russell, right, down here, holding that pivot low, inside day, same stuff going on, 50 MA. And just going to go back to SPX for a moment. Close below the 50 MA. And transports, right, held there. Isn't it amazing how it goes through, but they got the close right back above the 50 MA. It's always interesting. No MT Live today, Deepak, but Dan is actually doing a webinar, which he's got the link. He'll drop it in, or I'll drop it in for him. He'll get it from me. So you guys can, yeah, you got it. Dan's speaking at 1:30 at Traders Corner, but I'll get the link. So definitely attend that. Probably 1:30 is going to be dead anyway. So, all right, Bitcoin at support, holding there for the moment. Bitcoin holders are holding their breath there. They're praying to the market gods, please don't break down below this shelf, because then all hell is going to break loose. And we'll see if they get lucky. All right, there is the link to Dan's webinar today. Don't miss it. Somehow I messed up my silver thing, but nothing's going to be happening. Silver, gold, looks like it's going lower. What's the dollar doing? Just hanging up there. So things aren't so lined up here that it's a no-brainer today. It could just be Chop Fest day. The euro is just hanging around there. So let's look at peek at our internals. Sentiment is not down there yet. So this is one of the things why I really want to see the S&Ps come down here to 3,900, because if that selling picks up, those option traders will start going to those option tables and buying more puts, and it'll push this line down here, and this is already down there, and we will have a tradable low in place for a probable rally into the quarterly options expiration on September 16th. Stay tuned. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. All right. So all our opens are fine. We did 2 earnings trades yesterday, short puts in the earnings. One crowd doing well, gapping up. So I already sent the alert out. Let me give it to you all. I said, let's just bid a nickel and we'll get out, or feel free to just put a stop under the 50 MA and expire worthless. Totally up to you, but making a buck on it. And we did a condor, which is today's session that I'm going to be speaking on, which is simply an out of the money call spread, out of the money put spread. So on AMBA, we did the hundreds way up here, 100, 105, and we did the 68s way the heck down here, $5 wide each side, took in $1.15. So even though this is gapping against us, we're going to be at max profit on the call side. So on the put side, we did 68. So we have $8.50 of cushion. So I have 98% confidence, despite this gap, we're gonna have an open profit once at the open. Let them, the spreads tighten a little bit for a minute or two. So I'll keep an eye on that, of course. Meta is rocking here today. So shoot, I don't like when they rock too much. I was hoping that it would just stay up here at 162, and then we would buy a 30-minute high call options. But I definitely, this is on my tier 1 list to sell a put spread for Friday. That's a very bullish move. The only thing, I did see something in the journal today saying, I forget, I don't know if it's California or whatever, but somebody passed a law saying these firms have to, keep in mind, I don't know, I didn't even read it. They got to keep in mind what their products are doing for kids. So Snap was bearish earlier. Wow, that is an impressive reversal. Absolutely. Let me put that in a window. All right, so I have no idea what's going on, nor do I care. We'll just trade the patterns. All right, we have a number. We've been taking our profits in the call spreads on the bear call credit spreads, and so with today's gap, that was perfect management. We're trailing stops on a number of shorts equities, but pretty much I think all of them I've moved to break even already. STX, was this earnings or just other bad news? Let me check it. I don't remember it being earnings. So STX, I'm going to put this in a window. STX. And what I'm interested here is this just fits in the category Yeah, it's 10:28, 8, 9. I don't know. It doesn't even matter if it was earnings or not, other than we'd have higher volatility on the options. So it's down 3 bars on major support, and now it's gapping down $5. This, I love selling puts on this over whatever, 10, 15, 20, 30-minute high. I'll tell you when I see it. Chewy here. In the middle chart, this one did have earnings. I said yes, I was tempted to sell the $30 puts in the earnings, which were 32 cents, and I didn't. But I like, and I'm glad I didn't, I guess, even though there's a very high degree of probability that it's going to open up under 32 cents, which means despite the gap down, you have an open gain. But now we don't have to take the gap risk. And so here's another one I'm viewing as an excessive gap after sell-off from 52 to 34. So that's a tier 1 watch for me for a put spread. This, I have no idea what this is, but it's rocking here. Big gap breakout. Wow, it used to be $5. You know, if that's your thing, kind of looks like a penny stock toy. NOB, recent IPO, gapping up. We'll keep an eye on that. PayPal got an upgrade, and this is on my core long list. Climo 180 reversal on the monthly, broke out, buy setup weekly. It could be today that we start nibbling. You know, it's not a great setup, so I would never go in full size because you got to really give it a big stop. You know, way down here. But let's see what that does in 30 minutes. Hood, I think, was downgraded, but it's working on a retest pattern. We'll come back to you. NBEV filing bankruptcy. If you remember, this was the marijuana infused drinks. This was a drink marijuana company. So many of that whole sector is just decimated. This was on our watch list yesterday. I missed the double bottom and the bear sandwich. But if we get an inside day, then we'll trade this tomorrow as a 1, 2, 3. But let's watch it anyway as an intraday entry. BBPY. We had a put spread that we closed into profit yesterday on the gap up. And I purposely said there was some pending news about their business structure, financing, etc., and it's getting whacked here this morning. So nice out on that. Yeah, I looked at phase. That's you know, I just didn't like yesterday's bar. Could set up for a day trade. That's a bio. So we mentioned Meta and Snap. Noggin, another low price one gap. That's a recent SPAC. Could set up as a day trade. You know, gap it up from this retest pattern, but that's not my style. All right, these were some earnings this morning. SFED. If it's your style, you know, maybe 30-minute high. It's not mine. A BNR penny stock, not my style. CHS was up, now neutral. I'm going to set an alarm at 660. This might go. $660. All right, DBI. We'll come back. 30-minute high, maybe. DCI. It's actually no pattern there. BFB, no pattern. These were earnings last night. If it took out yesterday's red bar, then I like it a lot. I'll go ahead and set an alarm at 37. There's many times I see the pre-market action and it's really not doing anything. And I come back at 10 o'clock. I'm like, wow, Yeah, that thing blew through yesterday's high. So set an alarm because you can't watch everything. 37 done. VNet, possible bottoming pattern, but no interest. All right, there's the Hamba we talked about. PVH gapping down here. I don't know what to do with that. Possible call spread. CHPT gapping up. Yeah, 1510 though. This would have to get over yesterday's high to interest me at all. I'll set an alarm at 1560. CHPT. Mindy up alarm. We sold naked puts yesterday at 1560. Hey Greg, I'm starting to watch your AD line and at the open, which makes total sense. You know, it's just going friggin' vertical. All right, see, so this would actually be nice if it closed like this. It's not a 1, 2, 3 because that's a red bar. All right, Amba's the one going against us, so that's the one I want to focus on more. And yeah, we have a monster open profit. The midpoint is 20 cents. 30. So let's just take it. Close at 30. Close it. It's great. All right, so say I said 90, well, whatever I said, 98%. I forget. Oh shoot, now it's 70 cents. So that 30 cents was a little misleading. I'm sure I caught something spready, but we're still very profitable. I'll try 50. All right, I got out of 1 at 50. So let me try a smaller amount. Oh, I guess I had it in one account. Shoot. All right, so Greg, there's another one for the books. Went way against us. Out over 50% of max profit. Chewy, yeah, I said look at the 33s. I mean the 30s. CHPT alarm. I see. So Greg, the 30s I almost sold yesterday for 32 cents. And so here's another one. It's not a catastrophic gap, but again, I'm telling you these just to put in your memory bank. The 30s right now are 10 cents. So even with that gap, you're at 2/3 of max profit.
Amazing. Amazing.
Right. It's the catastrophic gaps that, all right, the market's coming in hard here. So let's kind of chill. Let's just focus on my tier ones and opens. I don't have many alarms going off of the CHPT I mentioned. But yeah, this is a tier 1 candidate. Let's see what the juice is. Spreading. The 61s are 12 by 70. So I'm gonna try 60, see if I get lucky. All right, 60s are